If your ultimate goal is $1 million in retirement savings, you might be shocked to find out where that actually puts you. In today's video, we're going to walk through the 5 levels of retirement wealth and show you exactly where $1 million really ranks. I'm Daniel, a certified financial planner and owner of a fee-only financial planning firm. Every day, I help retirees uncover where they truly stand financially, and more importantly, what kind of lifestyle their savings can actually support. Most retirees assume they're either doing okay or falling behind. But without a benchmark, how would you really know? The truth is, not all retirement savings are created equal. $1 million might mean luxury for one person and anxious survival mode for another. And yet millions of people are transitioning into retirement with no real idea where they fall on the spectrum. So today I'm going to give you the clarity you've been looking for. We're going to break down the 5 levels of wealth in retirement based on real numbers, spending patterns, and lifestyle expectations. And once you see the framework, you'll know exactly where you stand and whether you're on track for the retirement you want. So let's get into it. Retirement wealth level number 1, the survival stage, $0 to $250,000. This is the bottom tier, but it's where a surprisingly large number of Americans find themselves entering into retirement. At this level, retirement is mostly funded by Social Security and maybe a pension if you're lucky. And according to the data from the Social Security Administration, the average Social Security check in 2024 is about $1,900 per month, or roughly about $23,000 per year. For a married couple, both collecting benefits, that's a combined income of about $45,000 to $46,000, assuming no delay in claiming and no significant health or earnings penalties. And that's your entire income. With less than $250,000 in additional savings, you don't have a significant cushion to lean on. That means very little room for travel, home repairs, or medical surprises. So in most cases, you're not living the retirement dream. You're just surviving, hoping that you won't have any unexpected surprises that wipe out your saving. In terms of what this lifestyle looks like, every financial decision carries weight. Groceries, gas, and gifts must be budgeted tightly. Medical expenses loom large, especially before Medicare kicks in at age 65. There's little flexibility for bucket list spending. No European cruises, no second homes, or splurging on the grandkids. Many at this level end up working part-time well into their 70s, not because they necessarily want to, but because they have to. The psychological aspect, even if you've spent your life working and delaying gratification, if you enter retirement with less than $250,000, you may never feel like you've really made it or have true financial security. That financial anxiety can eat away at your peace of mind. Retirement wealth level 2 is the fragile freedom stage. $250,000 to $750,000. This level is what I call fragile freedom because on paper, it looks like you have enough flexibility to enjoy retirement, but barely. At this range, you have some savings beyond Social Security, which can help supplement your income and create a modest buffer. You might be able to draw down $1,000 to $2,500 per month from your portfolio if you're using a conservative withdrawal strategy. Combine that with Social Security, say a total of $4,500 to $6,500 per month, and now you've got the ability to cover your most basic expenses and maybe even enjoy some leisure, but only if nothing goes wrong. In terms of what this lifestyle looks like, you might still have a mortgage or rising property taxes to worry about. You can take vacations, but they're going to be budget conscious. Healthcare becomes a serious wild card. A major out-of-pocket cost can eat up your cushion really quickly. And home maintenance, inflation, and helping adult children can suddenly derail your retirement plans. The real issue here is that there's very little margin for error. At this stage, you can retire, but it often comes with that underlying anxiety and fear. You feel like you've done okay, but you're constantly worried that one bad market year or a health scare can blow everything up. People in this group are not living paycheck to paycheck, but they are seriously emotionally shackled by the fear of running out, especially if they expect to live another 25 to 30 years. And that emotional uncertainty can create emotions that make retirement just not enjoyable. Retirement wealth level 3 is the comfortable middle. $750,000 to $1.5 million. This is where a lot of aspiring retirees want to be. And $1 million is right at the heart of this tier. On paper, this looks like you've made it, but in reality, it's the true middle class of retirement. At this level, you have saved enough to generate a stable income stream, supplement Social Security, and enjoy a fairly flexible lifestyle, but you also need to be careful and strategic especially if you retire early, live in a high-cost area, or expect longevity into your 90s. In terms of what this lifestyle looks like, your monthly spending can range from $6,000 to $10,000 a month comfortably. Travel is not only possible, but you can do it internationally, but you need to plan it, and it can't be spontaneous. You can afford to replace a car every 7 to 10 years. You can help with your grandkids' education or remodel the kitchen. Healthcare costs are planned for, but long-term care still poses a big risk. At $1 million in your portfolio, assuming a safe withdrawal rate of, let's say, 3.5%, this gives you $35,000 per year in spending, and layering that with Social Security, let's say $36,000 to $50,000 for a couple, and you're looking at $70,000 to $85,000 of annual income before taxes. So what do you need to watch out for? At this level, your quality life is great if you can stay within your means. But this also is the tier where lifestyle inflation and bad timing, like retiring right before a market downturn, can seriously shake things up and derail an otherwise successful plan. The psychological aspect, this is where a lot of retirees start to realize we have $1 million, but why don't we feel rich? If you saw my last video, you know that $1 million is not what it used to be. $1 million does not mean luxury. It means you're doing okay, but only if you stay intentional. Retirement wealth level 4, the flexible affluent stage, $1.5 million to $3 million. Now we're entering the upper middle class of retirees. And for many retirees in this bracket, this is the first level where true lifestyle choice becomes possible. At this level, your savings are not just about covering your expenses, they're about shaping the experience of retirement. You have the flexibility to live where you want, travel when you want, and adjust as life evolves without constantly looking at your budget. A $2 million portfolio using a 3.5% withdrawal rate generates around $70,000 per year. And if you add that to Social Security, which might be another $40,000 to $50,000 per year, you're now living on $110 to $130 per year. What does that lifestyle give you? Well, for a lot of people, you can take multiple trips a year, even internationally, without much stress. You can do home upgrades or charitable giving. Those are all viable. If you have healthcare shocks, it's still painful, but it's manageable. You're also likely able to self-insure for potential long-term care costs. And you can start to think about legacy planning, gifting to your kids or grandkids or causes without derailing your lifestyle. Overall, the biggest shift is that you're no longer playing defense. At this level, retirees move from "can I afford this?" to "what do I want my retirement to look like?" In other words, you're not just surviving retirement, you are designing it. Being at this level of wealth brings a considerable amount of peace of mind. People at this level often tell me, "I feel like I can finally breathe." The fear of running out is replaced by planning around purpose, volunteering, pursuing hobbies, or helping out the grandkids, and leaving a legacy. But at this level, there is undoubtedly an increase in complexity. Tax planning, Medicare IRMA brackets, and estate strategy all start to become more important. And if this money isn't managed well, even $3 million can start to feel smaller than you'd expect over a 30-year retirement horizon. And that brings us to retirement wealth level 5, the independent wealth stage, $3 million and up. This is the level that most people imagine when they think of wealthy retirees. But the reality is very few can actually reach this level. With $3 million or more in retirement savings, you are now in the top 5 to 10% of retirees nationwide. And more importantly, your financial situation can afford not just flexibility, but resilience. You're not thinking about how to survive a market correction. You're thinking about how to opportunistically benefit from it. Assuming a conservative 3.5% withdrawal rate, a $3 million portfolio generates $105,000 annually. That's before Social Security or pension income, which can easily boost you above $150,000 or more in income every year. With that kind of lifestyle, you could own multiple properties, have a family trust, and work with a tax strategist. You're traveling business class or first class internationally and not worrying about how many nights you stay abroad. You likely employ some level of active tax management, estate planning, or charitable giving. And most importantly, planning for retirement becomes a second priority behind legacy planning. This is the level where wealth equals time. Time to focus on health, relationships, legacy, and meaning. And ironically, it's also the level where money becomes less central to your day-to-day decisions. This group of retirees have very different fears. They aren't worried about, will I run out of money, but will I use this money meaningfully before I can't? Most of the clients I work with in this group worry about purpose, legacy, and health a lot more than whether they have enough for themselves. The key takeaway here is that more money doesn't always buy more happiness or peace of mind. In fact, many 3 million plus retirees confess they waited just too long to start enjoying life and spending their money because they were chasing a safe number that was just always out of reach. So now that we've defined all 5 levels of retirement wealth, you probably have a better sense of where you fall and where you want to be. Maybe you've just hit $1 million and thought you were in the top tier, only to realize that that's actually just the middle of the pack. Or maybe you're still building and wondering how far you need to go. Here's the honest truth. It's not about the number, and you certainly shouldn't compare yourself to others. It's about what that number can do for you, what kind of life it can fund, how flexible it allows you to be, and whether you can retire with confidence rather than living in fear. And if this still feels overwhelming to understand, you can ask me in the comments if any questions pop up, or better yet, book a free consultation call with me so that I can better understand your specific situation and advise you accordingly. Just click the first link in the description. I'll see you there. And of course, don't forget to like and subscribe for more strategies to maximize income, minimize taxes, and build a sustainable retirement lifestyle. Thanks so much for watching. See you next time.